Good morning. Good morning. Alexa, stop. I put my timer on so I would remember to start on time. Anyway, good morning and welcome to the Daycare Q&A Show. I'm your host, Adrienne Bradley of Thriving Childcare, and thank you for joining me here today. Let me remove some of these distractions. And if you are joining me for the first time today, thank you for joining me here. And if you're joining me again, welcome back. And if you could, please send me some hearts and likes so I can see that you're here and I can just say hi. So, let's start the show with, as usual, some housekeeping notes. First of all, if you hear some jingling, which is going on right now, those are my dogs. They're walking around behind me. There's two of them, so you might hear that. Hopefully, they've been doing pretty well during most of the shows, so hopefully they'll continue to behave. But anyway, that's that noise. And secondly, throughout the show, I'm going to be taking my glasses on and off because I still haven't fixed this glare issue coming off of my screen. So it's hard to see my eyes and to see my whole face because of the glare, and I'm sorry about that. I'm working on it, but I need these to see, so I'll just take them on and off, so you'll see me doing that. So yeah, okay, and let's see. Lastly, don't forget that at the end of the show, we always have a giveaway. And this week, even if you're just catching the replay, you can still get in on the giveaway. So stick around for that. And yeah, but in case you do need to leave early, the replay for the shows are always on our YouTube channel. So they'll be there tomorrow afternoon. The show stays on our Facebook channel for the first 24 hours, but the following day in the afternoon it moves there and it comes down from our Facebook channel. So that's where you can catch the replay. All right, so let's see. What's going on in the Thriving Childcare universe? Okay. Well, first of all, today this show is sponsored by the Provider Planner and Organizer, our luxury planner for childcare owners. And by the way, see, there's my dog. By the way, we still have a few of our stripe planners left, and you can get those right now at a steep discount. They're $20 off, and so I'll leave a link to that in the show notes and in the comments below. Okay, so you can get in on that before they're gone. And next, tomorrow, I'm going to be hosting a webinar that is on how to use AI to save time running our childcare business. I had to put the webinar on hold for a while. I have been sick for quite a while, and so I kept moving it back, but I'm hosting it again tomorrow. And actually, I'm sort of glad that I put it off because there's been a lot of news about using AI even more recently. The craze has been going on since the beginning of the year, but even more recently, there's been a lot of negative stuff said about using AI. But I want to show you how to use some ethical ways. I want to show you some ethical ways for how to use AI in our businesses. So let me know if you want to know about that. Go ahead and type in the chat or type in the comments. Let me know, and tomorrow I'll let you know right before we're about to start the webinar. Okay, let's see. What else? Last week I put up a poll in our Facebook group about the words childcare and daycare and which one people preferred and why, and it sparked quite a bit of interest, and there was a lot said about why either or was preferred. But what do you think? If you have a preference, or if it doesn't matter to you, let me know in the comments what you think about either using the word childcare or daycare to represent our industry, and which you prefer, which you think has the better connotation, which yeah, let me know. Let me know which one you think. Go ahead and type in the comments and let me know. All right, so let's see. Okay, so that was all of the news, and yeah, so let's jump into some questions. I do have quite a few questions from childcare providers, and I hope I'll be able to get through them all. But anyway, let's jump in. Okay, it says, "Hi there, it's Lisa. I've been running my daycare for a while now, and I'm struggling with creating a business plan. How important is having a business plan for your child as for a child care owner like me? How important is having a business plan for a child care owner like me?" Okay, take my glasses off. So I'm assuming she said like me. I'm assuming she may mean that she's in a home based child care as opposed to a daycare center or a child care center. But either way, I personally think that everyone should have a business plan. And it doesn't need to be this stuffy traditional business plan that you think of when you hear somebody say business plan. It can simply be a plan for your business. And what I mean by that is without all of the, stuffy projections and all of that, maybe that's not something that you need right now, especially if you're not seeking funding or investors. Then what I'm talking about is having a plan for what you want for your business. So let's say that in Lisa's case, she's been in business for a while, but I would say, Lisa, have you sat down and thought about where you want your business to go? Is this something you're going to be doing temporarily? You plan to have your business for 5 years or less, or is it something long term? What type of what plan do you have for where you want your business to go? Do you plan on getting a larger license? If you're licensed, do you plan on getting a larger license? Do you already have a larger license? Do you plan to maybe go into a center if you're not in a center right now? Setting a plan for your business can do nothing but be a benefit for you, because it gives you a path to where you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, then it's really kind of haphazard, and you'll look up and it'll be 5 years down the road, and you haven't accomplished the things that you wanted to accomplish in your business. Whereas if you lay down even a short-term plan, let's just say that you make a plan for this year, and I know we're at the middle of the year, we're actually beyond the middle of the year now, but for a year, what is your plan? What do you want to accomplish in your business in the next year? Do you not have full enrollment? Maybe that's what you want to accomplish. Do you want to get that larger license? What is it that you want to do in the next year? And then I would say, whether you're a new provider or a seasoned provider like Lisa, I would say look at it in a year and decide, okay, so what do I want for next year? And then maybe you can project out further. Maybe you can project out 2 years or 5 years. It doesn't have to be projected out 10 years. It doesn't have to be that elaborate. But giving yourself a path, or knowing where you want to go, I guess is what I want to say, then you can develop this path. You can plan it out. But if you don't have a plan, if you haven't asked yourself any questions about what it is you want to happen in your business, where you want to be in your business in the next year or beyond, then I'll tell you, just like me, you can look up and it'll be years later, and you never thought about what it was that you wanted to get to. And so I know that was a little bit of a longer answer, but hopefully that gives you some reasoning for why I think having a business plan for any childcare owner or any provider, I think is a good idea, whether they're in a home-based environment or in a center environment. And we actually have a tool that you can use. It's called the Playbook. And in the Playbook, it will ask you questions that you might not even think to ask yourself about your business. It really, I say that it gives you a master's degree in your business, because it gets really granular. It talks about things that are very simple. So if you've been in business for a while, some of these things you're going to run through. You already know the answer. You're already past that stage. But then it's going to get into some questions that you may not have asked yourself back when you started. So I will leave a link to the Playbook in the show notes for this show so that you can check it out, because it's something that I wish I had from the beginning. I mean, it really helps you think about all the facets of your business, from what you're going to charge to what your long-term plans are for how you're going to market your business. I mean, it gets into all of that. It's really a complete tool when it comes to creating this plan for your business. Not necessarily a business plan, but a plan for your business. So I'll leave a link to that below, because that might be something that you can really benefit from. Okay, let me move on to another question. This one is from Anonymous. It says, hi, I often find it difficult to strike a balance between managing my daycare and spending quality time with the children. Any advice on how to manage time effectively? That's a really good question, Anonymous. Kind of going to refer back to my answer. Hey, Denitra. Nice to see you here. Thanks for joining. Kind of going to refer back to the last answer that I gave for the last question. And it's going to seem really simple, but the more planning you can do, well, first off, no, I'll say the more planning you can do, the better. And I'll get into that in a second. But what I was about to interject was, the first thing I would do is say, do you have a schedule? That sounds super simple. Most people have a schedule, a daily schedule for their childcare. But if you don't, or if you have one that's out of date, go ahead and create your schedule so that you know what times you're dealing with, that you want to be spending this time with the children. Hi, Christina. Nice to see you. Sorry, I told you I can't see without these. So I have to put it back on to see who's here. Hi, Christina. Good morning. So if you don't have a current, or if you don't have a daily schedule, go ahead and create one for yourself so that you can see what times you're talking about, because we all know that we're not spending the entire day with the children there as far as projects and things like that. There are nap times and meal times throughout the day in the schedule. So look at what your current schedule is, all right? And then what I would say is, for those projects or things that you want to be doing with the children, kind of map those out. Plan those ahead of time if you can. Maybe you want to do that over the weekend, or maybe you want to do that the week before. And just kind of plan out what you want to do so that maybe you have those supplies available. Maybe you want to take a big Ziploc bag and put all the supplies for your project all in one place, so that when that time comes, you could just grab that and you're ready to go. You're not searching around for different supplies and losing their attention and taking forever to get set up for a project. You have it all in one place. So the more you can plan things out is going to be your best friend here, because it's going to give you back time. Okay, because you've already done all of the things to prepare, so when that time comes, you're ready. So I would say, and I know it sounds simple, but plan as much ahead of time as you can, and that will give you more time with the kids. All right, moving on. Let's see. This is from Emily. It says, this is Emily. I've been struggling with late payments from parents. How can I address this issue without damaging the relationship with families? It's a really good question, Emily. And it's a question that actually I deal with quite a bit. I deal with it on the blog quite a bit. I have for years. and I'll probably be dealing with it here quite a bit, because I had that problem. It was a real problem for me, and it was years ago. And forgive me if you've heard this story before. I know many of you have, because I talk about it a lot. But my light bulb moment was, like I said, years ago. I had parents paying randomly any day of the week. They would just, and it would be obviously late, and it would cause all kind of problems. And the bank that we used at the time was not, it wasn't in my city. It was like 2 cities over. So it was quite a trek to get to the bank. And I was up at that bank 4 to 5 times a week in general. I mean, you could count on it. And not to mention the gas and the time that all that cost. It was a huge headache. And I remember this one particular time, and I was at the bank, and the tellers knew me because I was in there all week long, basically. And this one teller said, "Oh, I see you have a childcare." And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Oh, my sorry, the mailman came, so he's going to let me know that." She said, "Oh, either it was her sister or her sister-in-law had a childcare." And she said, "But they were closing their childcare." And I said, "Oh, why?" I couldn't imagine why they would be closing their childcare. And she said, "Well, they're losing their house. She's losing her house." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because the parents didn't submit their tuition on time." And obviously she got behind. She got behind in her mortgage. And I'll tell you, I was stunned. Because even though I was going back and forth to the bank 4 to 5 times a week, I don't think it really hit me that it could cause that much of a cash flow and financial issue. But when she said that, and I've never forgotten that, and that was many years ago, I was like, I got to fix this. I've got to figure out what's up with this, okay? So I came back, and the first thing I did was look at what I was doing to contribute to this, okay? And what I mean by that is maybe I was doing something inadvertently, unintentionally, that was sending a signal to my clients that this type of behavior was okay, that it was okay to pay me late. Maybe I was too casual with it. What was my involvement, first off? And I did feel like I was, maybe in the spur of the moment saying, "Oh, that's okay." If they said, "Oh, can I pay you in 2 days or next week," or whatever the situation was, maybe I was saying, "Oh, okay, yeah, fine, that's okay." And I had to stop that. Whatever I was doing to make it seem like that was okay, I needed to correct. So that was the first thing. The next thing I did was go and look at what my current policy was when it came to tuition payments. And this is years ago, but I probably had to tweak that. I probably needed to make that a little bit more firm, a little bit more clear, or maybe take a little bit of the slack out of it, because I believe way back then I was like, well, it's due on Monday, but you have till Wednesday to pay me. Well, of course they would wait until Wednesday to pay me. So I believe I removed that Wednesday out, okay? Because after Wednesday they were going to incur some fees, but I took that out. So it was due when it was due, and anytime after that was going to incur some fees. And I know that's uncomfortable sometimes, but remember my story. Remember what kind of financial issue this can actually cause if you continue to receive payments late. So that was the next thing. And then finally, well, there's many things I did over the years, because this is something that you might try one thing and it might work and it might not, so then you have to maybe try something else. So I remember making a lot of changes over the years, but another thing I did remember doing was making sure that I mentioned to the parents from the beginning, from the tour, mentioning them when tuition was due, okay? And not just when it was due, but how it was due. In other words, where to put it, if it could be check, cash, whatever was accepted, I let them know ahead of time, okay? So we're all starting, the beginning of our relationship, we're starting in the know. We're starting with an understanding of that payment procedure, okay? Lastly, and I know there's probably a lot of other things I did. I've written about this quite a bit, so I'll leave some links in the show notes probably tomorrow to some of the posts that I have on this, because there's a lot of different things you can try and see what works. But lastly, what I started to do was to send reminders. I do send reminders. I know that some providers, they feel like that's too much and they don't want to be bothered with doing that. Well, with the way this world is set up now, it's very easy to set that on autopilot. You don't even have to think about it if you do something like that. And so what I did was I had a weekly reminder go out, and it was just a little text to say don't forget. It would go out on Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, to say don't forget tuition is due tomorrow. And I actually have a little graphic, and it just says don't forget tomorrow tuition's due or something. And I would just text it to them. And I had a friend of mine ask and say, well, that's pretty annoying. You're sending that every week. And it's like, not really. Because we get all kinds of stuff, all kinds of reminders all week long, and we either pay attention or we ignore it. We know it's coming. And if you've taken care of it, you don't have to worry about it. And then it actually could be a help to your clients, because they're busy just like you are. And getting that reminder, maybe they, did actually forget. I know sometimes they say they forget, but sometimes they really do forget, and that can be a handy thing. So there's a lot of things that you can try. I just gave you several that I've tried over the years, and most of them have been very successful. And I'll tell you this, I did get to a point where I did not have that issue. For 95% of my clients, I did not have to chase them anymore for childcare, for their tuition payments. I will say one more thing, and I know I'm going long on this one question, but if you find that you have to enforce a fee, I have found that you only have to do that one time. You do it that one time and they know you're serious. Nobody likes getting charged more for something that they could have gotten for less, myself included. So I had a client that I had to do that with. I'm thinking of one, there was probably others as well, I'm sure there were. But this one, I imposed the late fee, and she was shocked, but I never had to address it again with her. So I know that can be a little awkward too, but if it gets down to it, just remember my story. You do not want those issues in your finances, and this is how you can handle them. You can proactively get ahead of them with a lot of these remedies. Okay, I'm going to move on because I got a few more. Let's see. This one is from Alex. It says, how do I handle conflicts and disagreements with parents in a professional and constructive manner? A lot of these questions are kind of feeding into the next one, because just like I said in the last question, for this, having an open line of communication from the beginning. Remember I said I talked to parents at the tour about a lot of the policies that are in place at my business, and so that they know we both start on the same page, right? So having that open line of communication from the beginning is going to be very helpful to handling things that might be uncomfortable down the road. You most likely have their child for several hours during the day that they don't. And so it's conceivable that down the road you might have something uncomfortable to talk to them about. or something that feels a little awkward, right? Having a positive relationship from the beginning, an open line of communication from the beginning, will make it easier for them to hear what you're saying, for you to address it with them. You don't want to feel intimidated in bringing something up that they need to know about their child. You want to be able to talk to them. You don't want to feel like you're going to immediately get pushback. And that kind of goes to choosing your ideal client. And I know we'll probably get into this at another time, but kind of vetting out those personality issues that you might pick up on at a tour that may not be aligned with what you do at your business, okay? Or it may not be aligned with, what I'm trying to say is maybe you'll pick up that these people are not rule followers. And maybe you can make it a habit, not maybe, I would advise you to make it a habit to pay attention to those things. Because I know that whenever I had an issue with a client, it was something that I saw way earlier, probably before I even enrolled them, and I enrolled them anyway. And something that I saw, that I recognized, did wind up being an issue. And it was something that I could have cut off from the beginning. And I know that for a lot of us, we're trying to fill our spots. And so, we have financial obligations and we want to keep our business running smoothly and we need clients. But I would submit to you that you do not need that problem client. And if you can see that from the beginning, first of all, everybody's on their best behavior from the beginning of any relationship. So if there's something that you see from the beginning, you would be better off avoiding that. You will find another client. You will be marketing and you will be, getting the word out about your services. So you will find your ideal client, or you will find out very quickly who isn't your ideal client. And I did that. I've been in that situation. I have. But getting back to the question, being able to have them respect your policies and understand your policies from the beginning creates this environment of an open line of communication that will help you maintain your professional policies or whatever when it comes to your business and dealing with and talking to your clients. So I would say that is key. That is key. I know a lot of, and this might be a little controversial, I know a lot of providers want to be friends with their clients. And I understand, I know that we don't want an unfriendly interaction with our clients, but sometimes being a little too friendly can make things awkward. It makes things awkward because they start to look at you as less as a business owner or as a business service. You're probably not going to like that word, service, but you know what I'm saying. It's going to get too personal for the professional to be able to come out. So I hope I didn't confuse you right there. I mean, and again, that's probably controversial. I know some people would disagree. They want to be friends with all of their clients, and I get it. I do. But there still needs to be this respect between the parents and the provider. And lastly, and I'll move on because I know I have at least 2 more questions. What was I about to say? It was about being friends. I'll come back to it. I forgot. This is what happens. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, so this one is from Jennifer. It says, "Hey, it's Jennifer. I often feel overwhelmed with paperwork and administrative tasks. Do you have any tips for organizing and streamlining daycare documentation?" Absolutely. I think I talked about this last week. So I'll refer you to go back and maybe listen to that show as well. But like I was saying with so many of these questions today, Jennifer, planning is going to be your best ally when it comes to this. So maybe you set a certain day during the week, maybe Tuesday, is the day that you take care of whatever paperwork that you have to do. Maybe you have some subsidized paperwork that you have to submit every week, or maybe the food program paperwork, something that you have to do every week. Maybe you set aside a certain day of the week that you're going to address that. Maybe on another day you're going to file anything that needs to go in the children's files. And so setting certain days and times to do these tasks kind of helps you avoid having a stack on your desk that, I don't know about you, but I would actively avoid if it got too big. But if I had, and this is something that took me many years to realize, okay, I'm going to spend 25 minutes on Tuesday on this, and so that I can handle it on a weekly basis, and it doesn't get backed up on me, and I don't avoid it. I turn it into a routine. So every Thursday of every week, I'm going to look at this, and if it's been handled, fine, then I can get through it in 5 minutes, great. But I'm going to make it a routine so that I don't forget to do something. So I would say look at your week. For me, Fridays are a no-go because I'm fried. My brain, I don't have any more brain cells left, so I don't want to stack too many things on a Friday for me to do. So Monday through Thursday for me, look at what tasks I can put on different days of the week, and create a routine, a schedule and a routine every week to handle each of those tasks. Okay? Last question. It's from Anonymous. It says, I'm considering implementing a digital marketing strategy for my daycare. What are some effective online marketing techniques that can help attract new families? Okay. Well, these are going to sound obvious, but having a website, that's a digital form of marketing, because that website, and I know a lot of people, they avoid having a website, and I don't really get that. I mean, I hear some things that they're concerned that people can come out on their website and leave bad reviews and what have you. First of all, when you have your own website, FYI, you kind of control your website. So anything that is on the website, you control that actually being seen, first off. Secondly, your website is like a 24-hour marketing machine for you. People can go to your website 24/7 and see what your program's like. Remember I talked earlier about vetting people out that aren't your ideal client? The website can help you with that, because it will have a lot of what you're about, what your program's about right there, so people can see. So even if it's just as simple as the hours that you serve, maybe there's a client that wants childcare on hours that you're not even open. Well, you don't even have to interact with them, because if they go to your website, they'll see what days and times you're open. So I would say, I think having a website is very important, because I think it can be that marketing monster for you all the time. But think about other ways. Social media, of course, we all know social media is big. Maybe choose one thing. Set up a Facebook page. I believe I did talk about that on another show, but have a Facebook page for your business, where people can, just like your website, and if you're not going to have a website, maybe you use that Facebook page for the same thing, and it shows what your program is about. You can keep the parents aware of things that are going on. It can be like your digital newsletter, you know. So use some of these tools that we tend to use on a personal level. Use them for your business. Set social media accounts up for your business. You don't have to be everywhere. TikTok is huge, I know, but you don't have to be on TikTok. You don't have to be on any of these, but it is an option. So let's see, another digital way. I did talk about in another episode putting an ad up on Google, and I don't think it's called an ad. I think it's called a broadcast or something. But I'll put a link again into the training that I did. It's a free training for you to do that. And what you can do is just put up an ad that you would normally put in other places, put it up on Google. And what that does is when someone in your community is looking for childcare, Google will push your business name or your business website in front of that person, and having this ad up on Google kind of speaks to their algorithm. We all know about algorithms. It will help your business to be seen by people in your community that are looking for childcare. So there's a few different digital marketing ways, digital marketing ideas for you. We do have what's called a marketing map, and I'll leave a link to that as well, because it helps you set out a plan for how you're going to market your business. The playbook gets into you thinking about how you're going to market your business, but the marketing map kind of helps you lay out a plan for how you're going to market your business, like all year long. Okay, so I'll leave a link to that as well. Okay, and that was the last question. So before we end the show, let me see. Remember, you can submit questions early to the show. I'll leave a link below where you can just go and leave your question. That way, if you can't join me here live, you can still get your question answered, and you can just catch the replay. So I'll leave a link to that below. But it is thrivingchildcare.com/what's your question. Okay? thrivingchildcare.com/what's your question. That's where you can go and just leave your question for next week's show. Okay? All right. It is giveaway time. So if you are still with me, or if you've gotten this far in the replay, I want to reward you by giving you this week's giveaway. And so for this week, you can get a copy of, or you can register early for a copy of our new book, or my new book, called The Ultimate Guide to Daycare Tuition. That book is set to release in a couple of weeks, but there'll be a link. I'll leave a link in the comments and in the show notes for you to go and get this, but use the promo code FREE4U. So that's free, the number 4, and U, the letter U. So it's free. This won't be in the show notes, okay? So it's FREE, the number 4, and the letter U, okay? All uppercase. And you can register to get a copy of that book for free as soon as it is released. Okay, so go over and do that. That will be in the show notes. Okay, and with that, I know I went a little long today. I hope that you forgive me, but thank you again for joining me. It's my dog again. Yeah. So I am Adrienne Bradley, your host for the Daycare Q&A Show, and I can't wait to continue this incredible journey with you next week. But until then, keep thriving. Okay? See you next week.